All right. Yeah, we got something new coming to y'all this evening.
Okay, so we
Peace,
all can
peace.
join. Perfect. What's up?
Where
What's
are
up,
you,
people?
sis, at?
She probably getting in
She
here. She'll
coming.
be in a second, probably. Yeah. Here she go right here. Uh,
All right. Hey.
Man,
Yeah, I had to turn my phone sideways because I gotta charge it and yeah.
man, I know how that be. I know how that be. What's up? How y'all feeling?
Hey Z. Yeah, we got something new coming tonight. If you wanna stick around, yeah.
All right.
More people.
What's up, y'all? I got a baby right now, so I apologize. But 360 Alchemist School of Enlightenment and Darkness. I know we got a lot of people up here right now in reference to on this panel. Uh, uh, we could do like a loose introduction here. Everybody just introduce themselves. I know everybody has their own platforms, and as I said, I'm 360 the Alchemist, and I'll just pass it over to whomever.
All right. I'm Soul Shine, the regular team player.
I'm Iyesis. I'm part of the team player too.
Peace to everybody in live. I'm Baba Kill.
Yeah, perfect, perfect, perfect. Um, yeah, we all kind of just crossed each other paths on this journey, spiritual journey. So this is just a representation of like different individuals linking up. So we're gonna do just a freestyle basis as far as the lecture here today, or just talking and just having a general dialogue conversation about ourselves or just about spirituality. Does anybody have anything does anybody have anything that they want to say or an actual whatchamacallit, an
Well, we can
actual
talk about the
subject? And give me
school.
1 second,
We can
I'm
talk about the school first. Explain what it is to the people.
I feel like we should start with, like how, how we had that conversation earlier in the meeting about how how we came together, following our path,
Yeah.
like break in, like how we all like ended up in this circumstance aligned with one another.
Hmm.
Break the ice with that one. And then go into, what we gonna do with it.
You want to start off?
Yeah, I
All
like
right,
that.
yeah, I guess. All right, so basically with that aspect of spirituality and it's just consciousness as a general, okay? So trusting your path. We each have, have our own paths that we have been following on, and it can be a lonely it is like the journey of healing and also balancing out yourself and also finding yourself in life regardless of where you like the place or where you're at or not. Everything has a reason, right? So we all have taken this journey. We are still taking the journey. And as we have, found ourselves in the more lonely areas and just diligently working on whatever we want to work on, we have ended up coming together. Like just that inspiration to those of you who are like, say, you in uncharted territory, you may feel lost. Okay. You may feel alone. Okay. But the fact is that you're not. And even if you are, you keep moving forward and keep facing forward, and eventually you'll look and you'll see somebody else standing beside you who will resonate with you and can work with you, okay, in different aspects of whatever that is for you.
That's good.
Definitely agree with that. Isis?
My turn? I thought we
Yeah.
had a certain order.
Oh, well, the
So,
alchemist, he broke that.
yeah, it's okay. I'll go while he's getting it together. So my name is Iyesis, and I started this spiritual journey because um I was getting a divorce. And so all last year, like the year before, so 2020, where I made the most money. Like, it's not a lot to some people that make $1 million. Man, I made $40,000 that year with my business, but I was like, why can't
Dang.
I make why can't I make $1 million? Like, why is that holding me up? And I realized I had to work on my mind. So all of last year, I just sat in the sun. You know, I didn't go party or anything like that. I just sat in the sun. I read books. I read books about spirituality. I read books about elevating my consciousness. I had left my religion that I grew up in. I grew up as like one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I decided that I was gonna research it. I researched it, and I found out that I grew up in a cult. So that was like a whole like mind thing that I had to get myself out of, because growing up in a cult like really dictates their personality. So like I had to figure out like what I actually wanted to do or who I actually wanted to be, because a lot of my decision making was based off of my religion. So as I discovered like last year with like reading new books, reading different ideologies, reading different philosophies, I was like, man, like I my marriage isn't gonna work because I married somebody that wasn't aligned with me spiritually. Like even when we were with the religion, we weren't really aligned spiritually. But then like after I decided to leave the religion, I'm like a spirituality is number one for me. So I don't know how I allowed myself to be in that situation when I grew up in a situation that was so controlled, you know. So, but it's okay, you know. It's all a life lesson. But it definitely brought me to this journey where like now I got like 19,000 TikTok followers because I was taught how to talk to people. I was taught how to be a teacher. So it's just like it all aligned perfectly together to bring me here.
Damn.
That's good.
Well, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just saying that's good. Not
Well, me, I'm Bob Akil. Uh, I think what started for me, I was locked up, but I grew up in a a religious background, like a religious household. So like not really like strict, but they was about that though. You know what I'm saying? And I was really questioning that. Like I had a lot of questions. Like my mind was always open to a lot of things. Like certain questions that people wouldn't ask, I'd always ask, and I wasn't comfortable with the answers that I was given. So when I really started to search out like outside of everything else, like people's own personal opinions and just finding my own like educating myself basically, I was locked up doing that. And most people that be locked up, they come home, they don't be serious about it still. And but with me, I just stayed down with it. I just stayed down. I started having like a whole lot of like experiences though, but it wasn't like how people be trying to like what do you call that, romanticize it. It was like real like traumatic experiences, like personally, as far as my path goes, and I had to do a lot of self reflecting and whatever. But I'm here now.
Story of triumph.
okay.
Yeah.
Hmm.
The little engine that knew he could.
Man, I'm telling you, crying all the time.
It's okay. Crying is healing.
I
hmm
know, but I didn't know that at the time though.
Mm.
Yeah, it's been seen to be like emasculated, like men shouldn't cry at all. And if they do, they bitch made. Like that's horrible.
Oh no, I'm
Hmm.
crying. I'm crying. I'm a crybaby. I'm just saying. The thing is with me is like I couldn't. All my emotions revolved around my anger. So like, and besides being happy or whatever, so like I couldn't experience no other emotion without getting upset. But that was like a defense mechanism for me.
Hmm.
So I had to really have to learn how to really express my emotions like that.
Mm.
But that goes back to talking to my mom and all of that stuff. Parenting and whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I realized like personally, like I had a lot of unhealed traumas. Like I was in this like infinity loop, like this time cycle where I was like constantly repeating in my head things that happened to me as a child, things that happened to me in my relationship, and I realized that like that was holding me back from moving forward because I just kept staying in that loop. And so last year, I just let all of that energy go, and I just sat in the sun and just cried. And I cried like 300 days out of 365
Mm.
days. I cried every day. And you can cry privately, but just like you know, what makes the tears like more traumatic is when you hold it all in and you have trauma that sat there for years, and then you have a big blowout, you know. But if you have little bits of like things that happen to you throughout the day, you just let a tear out, like it actually makes you feel better. Because you're letting the water holds energy, so you're like releasing that energy from you.
No, that's
See,
facts.
I used to be at a point where I would like just boo-hoo cry. Like it is it's like privately, or unless I'm like was with somebody that, you know, I felt I could trust or something like that. And it's like just boo-hoo, like continuous, like I could just cry for hours. And now because of like taking that time to, you know, pinpoint certain things and also getting out of that victim mentality for myself. Like, not saying there's not victims out there, but you know, if you just keep feeling like a victim or you keep feeling like a prey, you're gonna always be prey. So at some point you just
Right.
have to take that accountability to, you know, step up. And so getting myself out of that victim mentality, that what was be, you know, looking at everything else, or even though there were, you know, outside forces, so to say, that did tribute,
A tribute.
I think
okay,
Yeah.
tribute to, um, to what I was going through. At some point, I had to take, you know, accountability, because it's either I could sit there and I could keep going through it, or I can make a change. And then it's like now I can't cry for long periods of time. Like I used to cry all the time. Like I'm the crybaby. I'm a crybaby, period, too. So it's like now when I try to cry, like it's not even try to cry, but when I do, it's way less tears than what it used to be. It'll either be just
I went through a terrible breakup, got
you
fired
hear
from
my
my
TV?
job, and have been
Yeah.
I'm gonna say, what is
breaking up
that?
with
My
myself for over a
TV said I went
year.
through a
It just
horrible
came on by
breakup.
itself.
Oh, I think anybody
Oh
can. Every
wow,
need
you
I have,
That's the
radiating
spirit
I
right
energy
there.
over there,
well,
yo.
no,
Your TV just came on by itself.
Yeah. Yeah. See, stuff like that. I went through breakups, things like that and whatnot. And just and you know, now it's to that point of like if I do cry, it's not for long periods of time. It'll be like one or two, maybe three, or you know, I'll have like it's still okay. Like not saying people can't cry, but it's like I'm more like cried out because my mind has shifted from getting out of that victim mentality, and now it's like I'm not prey, I'm predator.
Right.
Like had to switch that mentality, because you're either gonna be prey or you're gonna be predator. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not saying like predator is in, you know, just hunting down people, but most predators, they don't just hunt down for fun. They get what they need and go. Animals don't kill except for when they need to eat. They don't just go and kill.
Right, divine order.
Understanding that aspect. So
Yeah.
getting out of that, releasing that energy, allowing myself. I did that too, where I had took some time, like really for I did off the map. Okay, so I was off the grid for a year and completely focused on myself, journaling every day, getting downloads. I had started if you ever scroll to the bottom of my TikTok, like doing things that I really like to do that weren't accepted before I moved over here, like my readings and trying to help other people get through the emotions that I was also experiencing, because knowing that the things that we go through, somebody else is going through it as well. Like you're not alone, and like just growing in that and becoming more balanced, taking that time, especially because after a year now of doing all this, I see the change in myself. And those who are close to me that I'm still in contact with, because the circle then became real small, they noticed that change in me. They noticed the confidence in me. They noticed the level of balance, the me not being a crybaby about everything, taking everything personally, you know, wearing my heart on my sleeve and shit. Like,
Yeah,
I really, really agree with that.
I was thinking about even the verbiage that you say, like, you know, you become prey. And I think about like how I like to research words, right? So when I think about pray, like people be praying to God, but then like then I go down the journey of like who is God, you know, because that word pray, right? Sometimes I feel like they put that within religion to make us be pray rather than
Oh,
exercising the
I
God
felt
power
that.
within us, you know?
I felt that, Isis, because
Mm-hmm.
what she was just saying, I was just feeling that way. Like, okay, if I'm an individual, and I'm doing what I'm doing, you know, I'm going through to basically illuminate myself and become a better version of who I am or whatever. Those mainstream religions, whatever, that do tell you to pray and push it on you, whatever, a lot of times it be them that be praying on the what we call the innocent or whatever and all that. You feel
Yeah.
me? They gonna tell you, don't meditate, don't go in and self heal yourself. Let me heal you. Let me walk the bed. And we know it's true because we've been, I guess, theorizing about it. Let's say the Pope, for instance. We've been theorizing it, and then it actually comes out, and nothing still happens. I don't understand that. You know what I'm talking
Well,
about? Like,
you can start in a small church. You know, you don't even
no,
have to be the Pope. He's,
I'm just saying. I'm gonna go fly out. You feel what I'm talking about? Off with the hit. You feel me? But I'm just saying.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
I'm just saying though. The guy is funny. You know, syphilis and
yeah.
things like that.
Well,
But
all
just
the child abuse charges,
yeah, you know,
all these religions, people have like church trauma, like things that happen in a church where someone touched them inappropriately, and them not getting rectified, and them trying to talk to the church, to get help. Like, that's why I left my religion, because I found out that I've been associated with at least like 4 or 5 people that have abused children. So, and it's like, and it was ignored, people knew about it, but they didn't tell on the
it's
individual.
always ignored. It's that's the I'm a victim. It's always ignored. I got a whole family, and they keep the secrets, but it's like you can't keep the secrets. You can't not tell it, and I guess let it out.
Invalidate your own inner experience or inner child, because it just builds up into a traumatic experience that's stored within your body that you'll move off of and always move in trauma experiences, wondering why your life not working out for you.
And we
Exactly.
got generations of this.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's not just my family. What about the other families that's going through that? You know what I'm saying? People don't understand that. Like, they want to hold it because you probably ashamed or whatever. You know what I'm talking about? But you holding on to generational, I guess, trauma that's not even yours. You just inherited. You know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about?
The epigenetics.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, epigenetics.
Epigenetics. Do you hold 20 generations? So,
Mm-hmm.
we only, the sad part about, Americans and how we went to school, they only teach us about slavery. So we think our ancestors are only go back to slavery, but 20 generations is beyond slavery. And then if you scroll down TikTok, you can see like people talking about being Aboriginal, not actually being from Africa, and how a lot of the buildings that we've seen that like the
Yeah.
White House was intricately constructed by Aboriginal people, because we were intelligent, we were smart. So when you know your history and you do the research and you align everything together, you're like, oh, I come from intellect. I come from intelligence. Like, I was watching Young Miami on Instagram. And I don't know if you've seen the video, but the girl was like, I'm a whore. Like,
Divine whore.
yeah, I'm like,
Divine.
and when you put
What?
I am next to it, that's who you are, right? So she just said that so gracefully, as like she was proud. But then the guy asked her, he was like, oh, well, do you want to have your daughter listen to your music? And she was like, no, I don't want my daughter to listen to your music. I was like, well, how is that aligned? Like,
I don't.
Contradicting.
I
it
don't
don't
think
make
they
any sense.
understand. It's an ancient Sumerian story called what's her name? Ashtar Never Tires.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Ashtar is the Virgin Mary. That's Isis. That's a set. Well, that's the same. All of those great mother energies, and it talks about how some guys come up to her like, yeah, basically, let me get that, and she like, all right, tell your homie them, let's go over there and let's have a party. And she run through all of them. They tired. She like, come on, let's finish me off, basically. You feel what I'm saying? And they like tired, and the story ends like this: all of the men in the thing is tired, but Ashtar never tires, and that's basically saying like the
She
woman
absorbed their
is more
energy.
strong, absorb their energy and more stronger. That's why we go through these sessions or whatever, as a male and a female, or whatever. We be the ones that's tired. We give away our testosterone. We do all that shit. But on a spiritual level, what about the information that you know what I'm saying, you passing through or whatever, as far as transmutating information or whatever, back and forth with those. But yeah, the woman is way more powerful. She can take all that in. But if a man taps into his feminine energy, then maybe it'd be different. Because men have, you know what I'm saying. I have at least had one of them experiences, and I don't like it.
Then I'm gonna be the one that's tired.
I don't I don't I don't like I don't that shit. Yeah, I don't even want to have the conversation. It's a different. Yeah, don't touch me. I don't, I don't like that stuff. No, I don't like it. But yeah, for real, for real. But for
I think.
realization, yeah,
Go ahead.
huh? No, I was
Go
just gonna
ahead.
say for the realization, just tap into it for realization.
Yeah, I was thinking like even that. You think you look at U.S. history and right, and you look at like the 60s and 70s when women wanted equal rights and they wanted to be able to work and have all equal pay, and I hate those women because I'm like I kind of just want to
It
like
was it was started by a white woman.
yeah.
I checked that out myself. Literally I checked that out myself. I'm like, what?
I'm like, you know what? I don't mind being at home, but I want to, I want to have my own source of income. That is
And
for
income and
sure. But
freedom.
like, like what it is the expectation is for two people to work now. Now instead of just one person, like is the cost of living in Atlanta for one person is like outrageous. Like when I was looking for apartments, 1,800, 2,500, and I'm like regular people who like got a regular job working at Target, you gonna make $15 an hour. You can't afford that. Like I
Mm.
can barely afford that, and I have a trade, like I have a skill. It's a
Hey,
lot of
Isis,
money. Hmm.
what did you just say before? Like we was just in a meeting. You was just telling us about how trading amongst each other and doing all that. It never like us. It's never been a time where two individuals was never working. The nation and the village was always built off the woman. You know what I'm talking about? We'd do like the
Right.
heavier lifting or whatever if needed be or whatever, but we still learning off of y'all. You know what I'm talking about? And the thing is, it's not running if it wasn't for y'all. So it was always that. They just trying to make it to where like, oh, just be equal and just be that to demasculinize us and to defeminize y'all. When
There's
when
no
when
such thing as equality.
that's what
Sad to
I'm saying.
say.
When both of us, we all, I'm gonna just say us, like as a black man and as a black woman or whatever, we the closest thing to y'all. The closest thing to being equal to y'all is a black man. You know what I'm talking about? And the highest version of what we would call a god or whatever is the divine feminine. So it don't work without. You feel what I'm talking about? And they want us thinking like them. And you was talking about epigenetics. Another thing that I learned about epigenetics, because you know how I be talking about the prokaryotic cells and the eukaryotic cells. Eukaryotic being like human cells, and prokaryotic being like your soul, like like bacteria, whatever. The epigenetics with that, because basically we evolved from bacteria to this, but it's still bacteria. What I'm saying is due to like wherever you at, like the region you in, the stuff that you take in, the stuff like that you eat or whatever, you feel what I'm saying, will change your genetics. You feel what I'm saying? So all the different what do you call it, ancestors that we have or whatever, that genetics that we do have as far as when it goes to epigenetics, if we not the utilizing to the full capacity, like how we can or whatever, and we just doing what they tell us to do, whatever, our genetics will start to transmutate us to a different level. Our minds, our bodies, we'll be a different people, like how we is right now when we not spiritual, basically lost out here. So I just wanted to share that when you have brought the epigenetics.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
Add to that. Like I wanna grow off of that. All right. So, knowing that our ancestors, their trauma and all that is in our DNA, right? All of our
mm-hmm.
knowledge is held in our DNA. All of our being, past and future, is all connected through the one source that is in our body and helps us to flow heart and blood. Right. So it's like when I had that realization that it's all connected, knowing that even like living ancestors, you're one because you share the same blood. Even it's
Thanks.
not the exact same blood, but when you start to heal for yourself, that's why they say when you heal for yourself, you heal your other ancestors. You
Yeah.
it's you upgrading your DNA. Your DNA literally evolves as well. The same way that you can hold trauma or tenseness or, pains in your body, things that manifest from the spiritual aspect of the energy physically. And when you heal and upgrade yourself, that's why also others, like say you have friends or energies on different levels, once you elevate and you start elevating, your vibration changes, just like your blood, your DNA would change as well, and they have to vibrate out of your energy,
Mm-hmm.
or it just causes more hassle to try to be in their vibration because your vibrations aren't flowing together, they're just clashing.
Mm-hmm.
So It was like by healing and also just doing those things, those researching the knowledge, also listening to your inner God as well, because the inner God is never, you're never without your inner God. You're never without your ancestors. You're never without energy, period. Even if, like, not until your soul leaves the vessel, that's the only time that that life energy, just all the correspondence of it all and how it affects everything else. And by you changing, it changes others in your family as well, whether or not they consciously know it or would like to admit it. You change your health, change, different things change. That also means that certain things can affect you the same way. Like when you become aware of people's BS and, facadery and, and so like, what's the word I'm looking for? Um, Low energy, manipulativeness, all that stuff, and then you start seeing through it. It don't work the same way because you've elevated, because you've
Mm-hmm.
upgraded. And then at the same time, when you heal for yourself, like say, I'm like, I wouldn't mind having children now because of what I do know and how much I have healed, knowing that I won't give birth to those same traumas because I've already gotten rid of them out of my DNA. And
Yeah.
then if they do come through again in the cycle, I know how to handle it with them because I would recognize the signs of that coming through.
Yeah. I have I have like a really great story for that because my mother, right? So I've been working on her, talking to her. She's still a Jehovah's Witness, but I've just been talking to her because she's just been really depressed. Like I just know she's just been depressed my entire life, and I really sat down with her and talked to her, and we had an amazing conversation. I said, "Mommy, like I appreciate you protecting me because I know a lot of my friends have been like abused as children." And I was like, but for me, I've never experienced that. Like, I appreciate you so much. And I said to her, why do you feel so low about yourself? Because I looked at her situation. Like, my mother's been homeless. She's been like abused and all kinds of things by her mother. She used to beat her and all that stuff. But she's been through a lot of things. But I'm like, you instill so much love and so much good energy to me. Like, why do you feel so down about yourself? And then she told me something that happened to her as a child, and it made me just look at her like completely differently because I had the patience to like really talk to her in that moment, like really like like look at her as a human being and instead of my mother, because when you look at somebody as your mother, they like God, like, but like looking at her as a human being, like, mommy, like, why are you so low about yourself? Like, you raised me, like, I think I'm amazing, so why don't you think you're amazing too? And then she said to me, she told me what happened to her as a child, and it made me like all that childhood anger that I had towards her for like making mistakes. I'm like, I forgave her for it, for in that moment. And I was like, man, imagine if she should have shared that with me earlier. Like, we could have healed our relationship, But again, they come from a completely generation, But I feel like for our generation, from us, like, we can easily break the curse, because we're aware. We have access to tons of information. We don't even have to read now. Like, we can just go get an Audible and listen to a book, you know.
Can I share something to
Mm-hmm.
that? I feel like not like saying like our generation, but the generation before us and the generation before them or whatever. I feel like it was set up to where like the time that they was in, it was set up to where whatever trials and tribulations they was going through, you feel what I'm saying? They can like break free of that. Cause like you ever heard of the term, like not the term, but you heard people saying like, well, you chose this or whatever, you chose to come here, you chose your parents and all that shit or whatever. And then but you hear about all this stuff where people have these traumatic experiences, may have messed up parents or whatever. And it's the trauma that gets us that gets us up out of here, because the way our subconscious mind is programmed, and that's what creates our reality, is by way of trauma, repetition, and symbols. You feel what I'm talking about? We get into spirituality, we messing with the symbols repetitiously or whatever. And the ancient Egyptians, all a lot of the ancient Africans or whatever used to do traumatic experiences or whatever. And not a lot of times or whatever, like as far as slavery goes, I really don't really believe in that or whatever, because if you look at like the pictures of like the people with the whelps and shit like that or whatever, and look at other indigenous tribes or whatever, they did that by way of like rites of passage or whatever. Like,
Mm.
if all the males had whelps and this, that, and third in their in the tribe or whatever, me as a young boy in that tribe will be like subconsciously I have to go through this to become a man. Now whatever happens after that is whatever happens after that. But as a people, because you say it takes a village. As a people, my mom is your mom. There's so many different perspectives or whatever that raises the individual. But symbolically, I got to go through that to become a man. But everybody didn't prepare me for that. You feel what I'm saying? And I feel like we lacking that. You know what I'm talking about? I feel like we lacking that, but I feel like we coming back to that now. You feel what I'm saying? Because you ready for this? All of the generations before that we had before that is still inside of us now. So we're able
Right.
to access that and tap into that or whatever. So now the world that we're in now, we're gonna need that and more because now we're in a they call it the it's a Hindu thing, the Kali Yuga, which is the Iron Age, but we really up out of that, and it's the Sala Yuga, which is the Golden Age, which is everything that you doing, everything I'm doing, we creating, we doing all this. So we're not oppressed no more. We don't have an oppressed mind. You know what I'm saying? Back then, maybe they thought that they was oppressed, or maybe they did go through that or whatever. But now we got a new perspective on it, and our minds are not like that anymore or whatever. And we're utilizing a whole lot more, like you said, it's a whole lot of information out here because they say the age of Aquarius, the age of information or whatever. And that, to me, that's when I hear that, I feel like that's the actual apocalypse. Because what are we actually uncovering? There's so many different perspectives, and that's why I say I don't want to be arguing with nobody, and then that I'm actually trying to learn from everybody. You feel me? It don't matter if I feel like it's dumb or not.
I can like you guys are like 10 years younger than me.
For real.
So I wanna like know like you guys are so young to have like these revelations. Like it I feel like I spent most of my 20s like partying and drinking. Like
I never party.
how do y'all manage y'all age? You know what I mean? Like do y'all still party and drink with having all these amazing revelations and realizing like who you are? Like how do you handle that?
You want to
Want
go?
me to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right. So for me, um, it happened with I did a whole bunch of drinking, partying. I didn't have my whole phase, uh, all that stuff. But it ended sooner for me, I guess, because at least for my life path, I'm meant to realize earlier on so that I can go ahead and kill these generational curses. Like it ran in my family till it ran into me. I'm the one that the ancestors chose, and I guess the sooner I get it done, the quicker that our descendants and my descendants can have better. Because I just knew that I wanted, like it was just ingrained for me to want my children to have, you know, the best life experience they have, and then just wishing like I just all like my my consciousness, my awareness, it wasn't as like it is now, but I've just always had this inkling ever since I was a child. But it really started when I was 13. Like I've gone through my own rite of passage, and life took me through the rite of passage sooner than those who I come from. And it was just noticing different stuff because I've always like you remember in the earlier we was talking about like did you get made fun of and stuff like that, or were you weird or different as a child? I was always more excelled than than other kids around me, and I get to the point like I'm a switch up game. Like once I notice some shit, I'm finna move different. It's just like and it's just something that's like meant to do, and I learn very fast. So in being around others and always just being observant and also being vocal, going through those situations and then just realizing certain things, especially when I used to go out to the bar for a year straight. I was out at the bar every
Wow.
night, drunk or tipsy. Um, I had my whole phase between the ages of 17 and 20.
Wow. You had fun.
And like running around Atlanta, just running around everywhere, doing everything. Man, I got stories. I tell you, I got stories for days. And it was just, they just all just started to add up because as I was changing, others weren't changing around me. And it was more of like, I was more oppressed for changing rather than not changing because they liked the way that I had been programmed to be versus me being authentically myself and authentically me and self programmed.
Hmm.
And it's like I just learned quicker about, certain things, and I would stick around. I honestly stuck around longer than what I really wanted to, because I had people that I cared about, I had friends and stuff like that. And I'm trying to get them to come with me, you feel, but again, we can't take everybody with us. They got to make their
Right.
own decision. And if I can't make you make the decision, it was like realizing, why would I sit here and fuck myself up? Even though I love you and I want you to come with me, you're going to have to come on your own accord, because I was holding myself up.
Right.
And just realizing that it's like I do enjoy it. I love dancing, but I always went out for different reasons too. It wasn't like superficial. If I love to dance. If I wanted to go out, I'll go out to dance. Like I'll drink and I'll dance. I don't go out to, just find somebody to take home. I'm not saying that's wrong for anybody, but that's just for me. I don't go out to, find somebody to have a one night stand with. I did at one point, but it's like later, like going on, it's like I just wanted to go have fun. I wasn't with none of the fuck shit, none of the drama. I just wanted everybody to have fun and be safe. That's literally my motto: have fun and be safe. And I still go out sometimes. Like it's that moderation aspect for me, because I just know how it affects my body. I was working and going to work after staying out and not going to bed, and then going to work right after I literally just went to bed, and like all that, tired, drained, losing weight because I'm doing a whole bunch of drinking, smoking weed. Nothing wrong with weed. I wish I had some right now, but just uh, just noticing like certain patterns, what wasn't working for me and what works for me. And I've been trying to go out myself. Like I gotta get me. I've been wanting to go out, but at the same time, it's like it started happening where spirit started speaking to me real strong, and spirit would tell me not to go out. Like I'd be ready, get like, I'm ready to go throw some ass and get me a workout in and go have some drinks, and I just hear spirit will tell me to stay home. So in that aspect, from my perspective, that's how it happened for me. And I still have, just knowing that it's moderation, especially because I want to be that older woman. I will be 50 looking 28. Like that's the plan. That's the plan. I want to go out smooth. I want to go out smooth. Just learning from myself and learning from my peers.
Um, me, I feel like I started off when I was like really, really young, at like not 13, but like 14. Well, probably 13, maybe 12. I don't know. I was extremist in everything that I do. So if I get mad, I get extremely mad. And so everything that all of my homies or whatever around the time, or whatever, like my mind was always open. So I always believed in aliens and all of that stuff or whatever. I always seen spirits or whatever. Not all the time, but I definitely seen when I was younger. I just never understood what was going on. I never had nobody spiritual talk to me. But I was heavy in the streets, like game banging or whatever. You feel what I'm saying? So like I said, the most extremist thing, I'm trying to go out and do it. So outside of messing with children or whatever, I messed around and did the most extreme crime you could do. You feel what I'm saying? And that sat me down. I was like 14, but like you was like, oh, you got your whole phases at 17. I was 14 already, so everything, me personally, and it wasn't everything, but it was what I wanted to do. I was like, I was trying to talk to like older women, so like older than my mama around that time, whatever. So so when I so when I accomplished all of that, I'm like it's already decent. And they sat me down, and then I wasn't really mature like that. I was home for only 6 months, and I got locked back up again for like 2 years. Cause I got like 8 years at 50%. So I was gone for 4 years. I came home when I was 18, and I got locked right back up when I was like 19, and that sat me down. And I really like sat and did some real, like, I guess, self reflecting. And when I came home, it was like the information that I acquired while I was locked up. I was like, I gotta really apply this. I can't just say fuck it, because I didn't made it my life now. And I went real deep, and I started to notice, like, this is when I started to notice it was working for me, and everything was like going how I thought it was supposed to be going. Everybody that was close to me, like, I started to see them distant off. I don't hear from them no more. I don't talk to them no more. None of that. You feel what I'm saying? And I'm like, this is supposed to be something like this, but they wasn't as deep as I was, and to this day, I still don't think they would even be this deep. They a person that's not that went off and not talking to me no more. But they told me it's gonna get lonely at the top. And like I said, I feel like me being like me, the most the most prominent thing in my life is me being an extremist. So like I
Me
was game
too.
banging. I wanted to be like the highest form of game banging.
Go
Yeah.
By
big
the
or go
time I
home.
joined, by the time
Right.
by the time I started game banging, though, game banging was already over with. I was just plugged in by way of divine intervention, I guess. But I guess I was able to see what it really was. Now I look at them as secret societies, like little spiritual secret societies. Now you feel me? So I'm able to see all of the little symbolism or whatever. But I feel like everything that I went through, I was it was meant because I'm not supposed to be here. You feel what I'm saying? I told you I did that when I was like 14 years old. Now there ain't nobody seen me, but I had a witness that said she did, and she passed on. Like I think she had cancer or something, like the day of trial or the day before trial. So I'm not supposed to be here.
Why you say that?
I was locked up.
Yeah, but like you're
I
here
was
for a
locked up.
reason.
I know. That's why I say that. You feel what I'm saying? So like, yeah, people where I'm from, people you don't come back off of that crime. You don't come back off of those. So
My
yeah.
cousin, he's in jail for like another 2 years, but he's been in jail since 20, 2008. So he graduated high school, immediately went to jail, and he's been in jail for like that long.
See,
And I
yeah, and
like,
people.
hmm?
No, I was gonna say people do come home, but I'm
You're not the
still
same
youthful.
after. Hmm.
Yeah, yeah, and you're right. You're not the same after. I 14, 17 when I came home, and like mentally, but I was already mature mentally when I got locked up. So that played a big part. A lot of people be still dumb and they be locked up in and out. And man, that's just
If you're
crazy.
gonna sit down, you might as well do something with it. The ones that
Some
do
people
usually
don't.
turn their lives around is because they sat in there. They'll either say they found God, they either got into the ministry, or they got books and stuff. So they're like, well, since I'm in here, let me go ahead and do something with this time. And I think
Right.
of that in the aspect of, for certain individuals, maybe more like yourself, it's like if you weren't noticing the signs of the universe trying to tell you to change something, do something different. If you don't sit down when they tell you to sit down, they're gonna make you sit down.
Yeah,
Yes. Let me tell you. So
yeah.
I
Especially
told you
because they care
my
about you.
I did my 3 day bid in jail, right? So, but like you saying, like you went there and you're not going to do it again. I'm not going to do it again. Like I'm done. But the situation was like I was just in this house with my ex and my ex husband, and I didn't want to leave the house because I had bought the house too. But I'm like, you leave the house. But life was like, girl, if you're unhappy, just go. But I just kept this battle of like the thing. Like I wanted to keep the thing and um neglect my happiness over having the thing. And then I've been manifesting freedom and doing my affirmations about being free. And then when I looked up the definition of free from Latin to English or English to Latin, it actually is it can mean freedom or it can mean being booked, right? So imagine me doing my affirmation saying I am free, I am free. Then I get arrested, right? Because life is chaotic, right? You can get chaotic good or chaotic bad. So, so I'm manifesting freedom, and I get my freedom, by me getting arrested. Now all this legal issues where now me and him are not together, but I also got booked too because of the words meaning two things. But I
Hmm.
say that to say like affirmations are true. Like whatever you affirm yourself, you will be. You just have to control your speech. Like what you say to
Self
yourself is
programming.
I self
Hmm.
program every
Yeah,
around the full
same
moon
every
and the
day.
new moon. I self program. People think I'm living in a delusion. That's okay, but when you see those things start to
Same too.
manifest in my life, then you'll start listening to me. Because even when so I got arrested. I was stated in my my strong woman stage. Like I'm not gonna let this man take me down. So I get out of jail. This man thought he was gonna keep everything in the house. Like he was calling the police on me. Blocking me from getting into my house. But this girl reads her bond, she asked questions, and I was able to like legally go in my house, clean the whole thing out. So when he came back from his work conference, the house was empty. Because everything works out perfectly for me. So that's why I'll be talking about like chaotic good and chaotic bad. Like you be asking for something and it may come to you. It just will come in a
Just not in the
chaotic
way that you
way.
thought.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that aligns best for you. That's why also, that being careful of what you say about certain things. Like it's that paradoxical. I love paradox. I am a divine paradox, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And understanding that yes, certain things you don't want to say because they'll come true, but at the same time there are certain things you have to say in order to acknowledge the truth.
No. I
Yeah.
love that. Yeah, you know what? It's crazy because last year I used to say, I'm like, oh man, I'm such an anxious person. I have so much anxiety. And I would tell my therapist, like, I have this like thing in my chest, like it's so heavy. And she was like, yes, you think it's anxiety. But then when I had like a little revelation, my personal revelation, I realized it was anger. I wasn't anxious at all. And once I acknowledged the anger, like the anxiety that I thought it was went away. Like I just had to acknowledge it.
Hmm.
I literally went through that, but it was reversed.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of being angry, I was anxious.
Mm.
For
Now I be
me, it
having to
was
work on my
anxious.
anxiety.
Nah, anger. It was anger for me too.
Mm.
It went from anxiety to anger. I feel like
I
that's how
I
it's the
beat.
difference. The feminine energy transmute energy different than masculine energies. Like, the difference if you ever watched She-Hulk, She-Hulk transmutes energy different than Hulk does.
Mm. Mm.
I
That's
feel
really
like
I never watched that, but that's actually interesting that they would even acknowledge that in the show.
So,
because like
man, all the truth is in the fantastical
Right.
things. But they tell you
Right.
that's not real, but yet that's, of course, if they tell you that it's not real, then they'll put truth in there so you don't acknowledge it.
Mm-hmm.
I've
but you
always
know they
felt like
have to
that's the
start
world
putting
for
truth.
me.
They have to give you truth now because of the age that we living in. They have to start telling you,
Hmm.
no matter if you believe it or not.
Well, in a way, they always did tell. They just didn't,
Yeah.
they didn't tell you that they were acknowledging it. Because
Mm-hmm.
So
by the
like make
universal law, they have to tell you in order for them to do it. They can't do it and not tell you because then, of course, legally, just like legally,
yeah,
it comes back on you. But if you say something,
that was cold. I ain't never thought about it like that.
So one of my comments, she said, I have anger when I can't express anger. I think that's a lot. You know what I've been doing recently? Like I've just been telling people like how I feel within the moment, and not a little like just in the
mm,
moment. You know what? I'm not comfortable. And I've been doing it at work because
Yeah.
work is great practice to do that at. Because it's like, I'm at this point in my life, like, fire me. I don't care. Like, I quit my job, like, the other day on
y'all need
principle.
me. I don't need you.
Right. I quit my job on principle the other day. Let me tell you, I found out I got my coworker's paycheck by accident. We do the same job. I found out I made $14 more an hour than her. And I was like, I can't deal with that. And he was doing some like malicious stuff to her. And then they came to me and started giving me negative energy. And then I found that they posted the job that I just got hired for online. And so
What?
I was like, oh, you
Fine.
going to do that? And then like try to make me feel like I had an issue with the quality of my practice. I was like, no, you're projecting. You just figured out you're paying me too much. And then you want to make it a me issue. So you know what I did? I didn't show up on Monday, which was Juneteenth, right? So I'm like, oh, something for my ancestors. And then and then, they called me trying to figure out what was that. I never came. But then I told my coworker that I made $14 more than her. And so she ended up telling the boss about it, and he lied and said that wasn't true. But then I sent a screen picture of my pay stub, and then she was like, and then she sent it to the boss, and now she got a $14 raise because of me. So I feel like
Hmm.
I'm Mary Poppin that. Like I'm so glad I left on principle because I was able to help her.
Yeah.
No, for real.
Yeah.
See, the funny thing is, I actually quit my job last week, okay?
We
And
on the same road, man.
it was just like, okay, so I know whenever it's time for me to leave a job, okay? So I'll have it for a minute. Of course, you know, when I ask God for something, I'll be like, all right, I want to do this, or I want to do a job. God will provide it. It may not be what I need, but God will give it to me to show me that it's not what I need. And I've survived for before. I survived a whole year without a job because I'm a creator. I can make and sell. Like I can I don't need to make money. I am the money, realizing that I
Right.
am the commodity. I am the wealth. I can create it because it's already within me.
Right.
But last week I got really sick, and anytime at a job I'll get really sick right before I end up leaving. I'll get really sick, and it's weird ass sicknesses. Like, it's not the type of shit everybody else get. I get it differently, and it usually either has something to do with my throat or like something nasally. Like, it's always something head, my throat chakra and my third eye and the crown energy always end up, because there's messing with my energy, right? So I was just feeling really bad. It just kept, like, I had started feeling good, and then I had called out of work for like 4 days in a row. And when I went back after feeling better, immediately as soon as I walked in the building, it hit me. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, no, it's time to go. It's time to go. So, you know, I kept taking care of myself, you know, until I felt better. And then I walked in there and I quit because obviously the spirit was telling me, I was like, I feel like spirit was like, you need to go. So I don't know what went down or what was about to go down, but generally when spirit has me leave somewhere, it's because spirit is either protecting me from some BS that's about to come that's not my karma, some karma that's coming that's not my karma. Or it's time, my time is up, that season was over. And ever since I left this, like, still just understanding that, you know, Father God will always provide for me, and then provide opportunities that will provide for me, understanding that. Mother God is going to guide me to the opportunities that Father God has set for me. And just letting that path be, because the fact that I've already survived here without a job, knowing that I've always known that anyways the 9 to 5 isn't for me. I've always known I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a boss lady. Like, I'm not meant to be under somebody else's guise. But at that point, I learned what I needed to learn from that job. It did teach me a lot in the 3 months that I was there. Prior to that, I was at another job for 2 months before I left, because Spirit was like, it's time to go.
Yeah.
And so it's just like that job hopping, but each and every time it's an experience to be had, or a lesson that I've learned, or, you know, it set me up for something else.
Yeah.
Understanding the bigger picture of things. Because the fact is, my cat came back this week, y'all. My cat been missing for 2 months.
What?
And he's like sickly thin. Like, he ain't been eating. He was struggling out there, but he done came back home after his struggle, after his pain, after he done learned his lesson. He done came back. I had to let him go on his own journey. And like, if I had been at my job, I would not have been able to take care of him the way that he needed to be taken care of right now. Like, he had to be watched over. He needs to be fed every second because he's so tiny. I had to take him to the vet, like many different things. And when Spirit had told me to quit my job, this was one of the things that he had in common, because knowing I had to take care of my familiar. And now it's like I have that time to take care of him, and at the same time it's like I've been like full-fledged focused on my business, like no other stuff. Because before, it's like I was doing everything around my business. Now it's just tunnel vision straight on it. It was already tunnel vision before, but I had to keep stopping. I had to go, you know, do and work for somebody else. And at the same time, I kind of also knew the moment that I ran over a dog 4 weeks ago, like 5 weeks ago or so, I ran over a puppy on the way to work. And the fact that I had to, everything in me wanted to stop and check on it, but I had to leave that puppy hit on the side of the work. That didn't feel right. That didn't feel right at all. So many different things happened before I finally left, before Spirit was like, okay, do you get it now? And I'm like, all right.
Wow.
All right.
Wow. You know, that's so interesting that you say that. Like, because work be having you do some unethical things. And it's
That
like,
don't align with you at all.
yeah, it doesn't align with you at all. You know, especially for me working in healthcare, like the stuff that I just had to keep my mouth shut on, and so I can just keep money. Like, that's so stupid when you really like break it down to its core. Like, you're
Putting
just
money over it, putting a
money over a life. You know, like it just angers me.
Yeah, that shit fucked me up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That shit.
Yeah.
Oop, it's getting hot in here.
So 360 has not returned.
Nah,
Mm,
like
he got two
what's
babies. He got two babies at the moment. He being daddy.
Yeah, he's being daddy.
yeah.
So it's been about an hour, so I guess we can just take a break from today and maybe reconnect, find out where he's at. Hopefully he's okay.
Hopefully
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
a.
swamped in diapers and baby
Right.
spit up.
I'm gonna hit him. I'm gonna hit him up after we get off this or whatever, and we probably,
All
you
right.
know, what I'm saying, can reconnect after, on the on the thing or something. Maybe I don't know. I'm gonna
All
holler at him and see
right.
what's going on though. All right,
It
y'all.
was
Y'all be
still a
safe.
vibe though.
Yes, it
It
was
definitely was.
definitely. So we're gonna do this every Friday. So we're gonna actually have a topic to discuss. But today we're just
Hmm.
trying to get our vibe together. This is the first time we've almost been all together. We just have to get 360 on here.
It's always something, but it's gonna come together eventually.
Tell me
Yeah.
why
He just text you?
just text me.
Speak of the devil,
Oh.
and he shall appear.
Yeah. Well, we about to go. So tell the devil we'll see you there. All right. So I'm logging off. I'll talk to y'all.
All
All right,
right,
y'all. Y'all
babe.
be
Y'all have a
safe.
good night.
Y'all too.
How do I end this?
Oh,
All right. Whoever is in here, thank you for being here. That was the first time we did something like that. All right, now I figure out. I think I do want to do these readings. I want to do a reading real quick. I'm gonna do a reading real quick. What's going on in the energy for the collective? Clearing out the energy. All right. All right, spirit for the collective. For the collective. All right. On top of the deck, we have a time for healing. Okay. A time for healing. We have full moon in Gemini. The answers you need are coming. The answers you need are coming. Assess the situation. First quarter moon in Virgo. Assess the situation. Honestly, my phone's charged enough now. Okay, there we go. Don't let your pride get in the way. Full moon in Leo. Confirmation. Be proud of yourself, okay? Last quarter moon in Taurus. Cancer is a strong energy right now. Okay. Be proud of yourself. Hi. Alright, the answers you need are coming. Alright, thank you, Spirit. A clockwork pumpkin, a wonderful dia, and aha moment. 39. 12, 3. Okay. Assess the situation. 40. Angel of time. Assess situation. Working too hard. Somebody out here working hard. Got all these ideas. All these answers. Creating some type of stability. Creativity. Don't let pride get in your way. Feels like a clashing energy. Highest white light transmit its energy. I say okay. $44. The natural world needs you. Don't let your pride get in the way. Okay. Fairy of the green world. Be proud of yourself. Angel de la Muertos. Transitions to the spiritual realm. I love that. Okay. I'll turn some music on. But I really don't have to. I want to see. It's a chill vibe. Chill, cool vibe. A clockwork pumpkin. A wonderful aha moment.